Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We're from Group 1 and we're going to explain about our group cloud, the cloud that we use, the cloud tools that we use in our project. And first of all, my name is Rheno Technical Fawwaz with my teammates Saefulloh, Putra, Kyrana, Hafiz, Zahrul, Ifaz, Thoriq, Irfan, Falach, and also Rheno, Rayhan, Fayyaz. And first of all, we're using the cloud function to connect the IoT part to the Big Data Studio, the BigQuery Studio. Cloud function itself is a small and single-purpose piece of code. It's like an imager that contains the code that run in the cloud. Specifically, it target the trigger function using specific events like uploading or the HTTP request. In our part, we're using the REST API to send the data from IoT into the big data part. Cloud function itself is using the serverless model. It means that it don't need any servers and it will run constantly. After we upload the source and deploy the cloud function, it will generate URL, and we're using the CURL or curl function in the IoT part to set the trigger. And cloud function itself designed for quick short-lived tasks like uploading, requests, and also posts. It handles the infrastructure of the code, scaling, and also the maintenance. And of course, cloud function is have a very low cost usage and because it's only executing and triggering the function itself. Cloud function itself is ideal for processing data, responding web requests, and also running scheduled tasks and triggers. Another example of the cloud function are like the Amazon Lambda and also Azure function. And next will be explained by Thoriq.
Oh, okay. So we're using the um, REST API for the cloud function. Um, for setting rules on on each app on how the applications basically connect to each other and contact each other using HTTP HTTP requests and basically the data is basically sending data, and each request is directed to specific endpoints using different methods. And we different methods for the different uses we use it. And we use the REST API for in the cloud function to generate URL for bridging the inject data into the BigQuery Studio. Basically uh, a path for BigQuery Studio to be connected with the data being sent from the device. And next it will be explained by my friend Rheno.
Okay, thank you, Thoriq. So, right now I'm gonna explain about the how the BigQuery or the database it works and how will it lend the data to the website itself. So as you can see, here we have a data set called as scan and map, and then there's five table including two few tables. The three tables are called account, lectures, and scanned, and the few tables is report and scanned underscore latest. So in the scan table, uh, in here we will store the data that come from the IoT device, which is our Raspberry Pi device, and it will record the data of timestamp, the scanner ID, the scan time, and the MAC address. So from the IoT, it will be passed on to the BigQuery and will be stored in this table. Now, as you can see on the scan, why do we have a few table called the scanned underscore latest? So this table is utilized in order to detect that the scanned MAC address is available or not in in the latest or in the latest scan of the device. So for example, if a lecturer is present in the room, so it will be detected. So the device of the lecturer will be detected, and each time the device is scanned, or each time the IoT device do a scan, it will this table will delete all of the data of all of the old data and then replace it with the newest data with the newest timestamp. So it will keep updated, and then we can see in the web if the newest MAC address or the newest list of MAC address is one of the lecturers present or not. So we will cross-validate if I may. And then in the lecturers table, there there stored the information of the lecturers, which includes NEP, name, photo, MAC address, details, history, and notes. So as you can see here, we already have a set data for the MAC address of each of the lecturers. So how it works is that when the when on the scanned underscore latest view table there is detected one of the lecturer's MAC address, so it will cross-validate if it fits or not. If in the scan underscore latest table it's non-apparent or it's non-existent in that table, so it will mark the lecturer as not available. But if in the list of the MAC address in scan underscore latest and it found one or more of the MAC address of the lecturers, so it will be labeled as available. And then we have the last but not least, the main of the table is the account. So in this account, we stored three kind of data, which is username, password, and role. So the username that we use here differ from each person. So lecturers and the administrator have to insert their NEP for the username, and then students will insert their name for their username. And then this role, as you can see here, I already added a description. So basically, if the account contains the role one means that it's the administrator or head of the department, and if it's two, then it means it's the lecturer, or if it's three, that means it's a student. So this parameter will be passed on to the website and then validate if the role is correct or not. So if when we log in and then we choose to log in as student, lecturer, or the head of department. So for example, if the account is student, but then the student chooses to log in as the lecturer, then the login will give an error message. I think that is all for the big data part, and then the next part will be explained by my friends Saefulloh.
Okay, thank you, Rheno. So for now, I'm going to explain about how to deploy the application itself into the VM or virtual machines. So the first thing we do is, of course, is we create the virtual machine instances using this uh, Google Cloud platform. And after we create the instance, we will then run the instance, yeah, like by clicking these three dots and then click start or resume. So now that the instance is already started, it will generate the external IP, which can be accessed to our web browser, but we will touch upon it later because now it's the application itself is not deployed in the VM yet. So we could do this by clicking the SSH, which will then access the command of the VM itself. And after we do the SSH, we will then start to upload the files of our application, or we could just clone the application from the GitHub if we have stored the application in the GitHub account or the GitHub repository. So after we clone the GitHub repository into the virtual machine itself, we can then run the npm command to run the web application. And after we have run the application itself, we will then turn into the external IP, which is created by the VM itself. And this is how we will access the application itself. So now we can type the external IP into our web browser, and there we go. The application is now deployed into the virtual machine. Of course, when deploying the application into the VM and into the web itself, it requires some certain firewall rules or connection rules that need to be configured inside the virtual machine itself. And for this section of the presentation will be explained by my friend Hafiz.
Okay, so for assessing this, we need firewall rules. So implementing these firewall rules is a straightforward process that significantly enhance the availability and the functionality of our web services. So first of all, let me try open the firewall first. I think it's on. Yeah. So by opening this port, I created new port called TCP for opening the TCP 3000 and TCP 18. So by opening port 3000, we can accommodate application running on non-standard ports. So we use for development and environment and specific web framework, and enabling port 80 and ensure that traditional HTTP traffic can reach our virtual machine and catering to standard web server configuration. So this dual configuration not only facilitates smoother development and deployment workflows, but also optimize our virtual machine readiness for handling various types of web traffic and contributing to a robust and flexible cloud infrastructure. And using the Google Cloud dashboard, these rules can also be created manually and offering an intuitive interface for users who prefer graphical tools over command line operation. So I think that's for the firewall part. I give it back to Raynor. Thank you for your explanations. I think that's all for our cloud competition part that we use in our budget. Thank you for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.